He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Kia ora, and a very warm welcome to the Kākāpō Files from RNZ. Ko Alison Ballance aho. This is episode 8, Peak Breeding. The Kākāpō Files is a deep dive into New Zealand's kakapo, the night parrot. It's about the bird and about the amazing conservation program that has rescued this species from the very brink of extinction. We're following a breeding season that we all hope will be one for the record books, although, as we'll hear later in this episode, nothing is certain and plenty of things could potentially go wrong. But before we get to that, let's check in with the Kākāpō Recovery Programme team to find out what's going well. On the line is Operations Manager Deidre Vercoe.
Kia ora, Deidre.
Kia ora, Alison.
Where are you at the moment?
I'm in a very wet anchor island in Dusky Sound, Fiordland.
Ah, very wet island. When we spoke to Maddie last week for episode 7, she was talking about how hot and sunny and dry it had been.
I know, we had a very, very dry spell. There was some swimming, there was sun, there were loads of sandflies, and we were unable to have showers or wash our dishes. It was getting a bit awkward. So we're very, very thankful for this rain. It seems to have remembered that it's Fiordland here.
And hopefully all of the nesting kakapo, who we'll come to in a minute, have nice roofs over them now. But tell me, I get the impression from the fridge door, which I saw posted on the Kākāpō Recovery Facebook page on Friday, that we're really at peak breeding now. It's full steam ahead in every direction.
It is. It has been go, go, go out here. We've had lots of matings on anchor. Pretty much all of the females are through. So we have 36 breeding age females out here, and only 5 of them are left to mate, and we have a suspicion that maybe a few of those have mated and we've missed the detection. So yep, it's all full steam ahead. And whenua hou, they've had 22 out of 34 females mate, so 12 still to go there. And on to Kākāpō, most of the females have mated there as well, 9 of the 11.
Wow, that's amazing news. Might I ask whether young Alison is one of the recalcitrant 5 on Anchor Island?
She is, Ellie. You might have to talk to her. She's one of the 5 left. So we have Alison, Hananui, Hanariki, Madison and Verity that we're keeping our eyes on out here.
So youngish birds.
Well, Hananui's not super young, so she might just be timing it right, or maybe she's mated already and our technology hasn't detected it.
It'll be interesting to see whether we actually manage to get to a full house, but every breeding season there's a handful of birds that don't breed.
Yeah, that's right. Usually there are a few. So we were expecting that most breeding age females would mate this year, and I think we've already reached that target. So that's been really exciting to watch them come through every night on the technology. Just, oh, yep, there goes so-and-so and so-and-so. So we've been counting them down.
Wonderful. And all of this mating must mean lots and lots of work for you and the rangers finding the nests.
We have had 2 very busy weeks of nest finding. Almost every day we're sending teams out on the hill in different directions to track down the females who have mated and to find their nests. So that's been quite an exciting time. I feel like it's a really hopeful time. It's the very start of the season, and yeah, it's really cool to see the females settling down and to see what kind of nests they've picked as well. So we have many nests out there on the hill, and we're starting to get quite a large count of eggs, Ellie.
Oh, how many eggs are we up to?
Drum roll, we are up to 101 eggs.
101? Wow, gosh, that got there fast.
Didn't it just? So we've had some really good clutches on whenua hou and on anchor and te kākū actually. We've had clutches of up to 4 under some females, so that's fantastic. And we're just starting to get around and understand the fertility status of some of those eggs. Out of 101 eggs known so far, we've been able to check the fertility of 68 of them. And in total, the fertility of those known eggs across the 3 islands is sitting at just over 60%, which is fantastic. Hopefully it maintains that level or increases. But we do have some differences between the islands, which is really interesting.
What are those differences?
Well, I don't know if we're just striking it lucky on anchor and that we're about to find a few infertile nests, but we've had quite a few fertile nests out here, and the fertility rate on anchor from known eggs so far is 81%, which is very high for Kākāpō. The inverse is true on Te Kākahu, so we've been checking eggs out there and we're sitting at about 30% fertile out there. And whenua hou is more the norm, with about 55% fertility so far.
Interesting how different it is between the different islands.
Yeah, it is really interesting. And look, we're still early in the checking process, so those numbers might change quite a bit. But it'll be very interesting to reflect on that at the end of the season and see if we can understand anything about what's influencing fertility.
Now, you say 101 eggs. Are you guys running a sweepstake as to how many eggs you think might get laid this season?
No, we're not. So of all of the known eggs at the moment, right as of now, we've had 42 fertile eggs and 4 of those have died. So we've got 38 fertile eggs still out there on the hill that we know of, but we're bound to find some more over the coming week.
Well, of course, that's right. The eggs have to be fertile to start with, and then they have to stay alive for about 30 days before they hatch. And then the chick has to stay alive. There's an awful lot that can happen.
Yes, I really do feel that we're still at the very start. There is a lot of water to go under the bridge yet, and it can be a long season. You're right, eggs, the hatching process, the young chicks, and then, when they start fledging as well, right up until they're about a year old, you can lose them through various means. So that's kind of why I like the start of the season, because it's just, they're full of potential and full of hope, and it's great to see these numbers come through. But as the season carries on, we'll get to see the true reality of what success will be this year.
Looking ahead, when do you think the first eggs might start hatching?
We expect hatching to begin around mid-February. So on anchor, the oldest eggs that we have at the moment are from Tīwhiri, and they're due to start hatching around about the 15th of Feb. On whenua hou, very similar timing. We have esperance, again due to start hatching around mid-Feb, and on Te Kākahu, a female called Ninihi, due to start hatching around mid-Feb. So each island will kick off around the same time.
Now, I definitely have to say that Rakiura is a star Kākāpō at the moment.
Isn't she? She's got a big following.
Yeah, so she's got Nest Cam beaming live from her nest 24/7, and people have got to see her laying eggs. How wonderful is that?
I know, it's been incredible actually, and we've seen her lay all 3 eggs, and I think it went live just after the first egg. So yeah, everybody has had the chance to see her lay, and that's pretty amazing, I think, and just to see how she tends those eggs. And I think people were pretty excited to see Lee, one of our rangers, come and check those eggs last night or the night before for the first time, and discover that they're all fertile, which is fantastic. So yeah, she's been a real star.
She was one of the birds that had some artificial insemination as well as a natural mating.
She did. She had an artificial insemination. And on whenua hou, the fertility is looking really good from all of the birds that have been artificially inseminated. So fingers crossed that we're able to represent some of those very underrepresented males through that process this year. I know that the artificial insemination team are really excited about the fact that Heather has fertile eggs, because they inseminated her with sperm from Bonus, who is very underrepresented. So that's pretty exciting. They're keeping their fingers crossed there. But yeah, all of the AI eggs are so far looking good.
I will continue watching with bated breath. I will continue recommending to people that they listen to Radio with Pictures and watch the Nest Cam at the same time as they're listening to the podcast. You have a good week. Enjoy the rain, and I look forward to hearing the news again in a week's time.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ellie.
So let's have a bird of the week. And of course, that needs to be Kākāpō Cam star Rakiura. Her mum is super breeder Flossie, who we heard about all the way back in episode 4. Her dad is the late Bill, and she has a sister, Esperance. Both sisters are on nests at the moment with 3 fertile eggs each, and both received artificial insemination. 24-year-old Rakiura has produced 11 chicks that survived to fledging, 4 daughters and 7 sons. 9 are still alive. Fun fact, all but one of her chicks have names starting with the letter T. daughter Toitaiti is also on a nest, while Tia and Matima haven't yet mated. Sons Tamahau, Te Atapo and Tutako have all mated. We don't know about Te Awa, who is on Te Kākahu Chalky Island, and Tautahi and Taiatanga are both at Sanctuary Mountain Maungatautari in the Waikato, testing the suitability of a fenced sanctuary for Kākāpō. Now, Deidre talked earlier about levels of egg fertility. It's a very important issue for Kākāpō, and science advisor Andrew Digby says some new research throws an interesting light on it.
It's probably one of our biggest problems is how many eggs fail to hatch. It's around about 60% of eggs don't hatch. And of those, the bulk of them traditionally were thought to have been infertile. So what we do is we candle eggs, so we shine a torch through them and look for any sign of development. And around about 3/4 of those eggs that fail to hatch, we've always thought they've been infertile, there's been no development. But a recent study has looked in more detail using microscopic methods at those eggs and found about 3/4 of those eggs, which we thought were infertile, are actually fertile. They have been fertilized. And so what's happening here is that it's not the failing to hatch because they're infertile, but they're failing to hatch because their embryos are dying very, very early on. So early that we can't see them with the naked eye, but you can see development with a microscope. So this kind of opens up some questions really about how do we manage this? Can we do anything about it? And it might be in conjunction with our genetic work that we find out, actually, there's some pairings of Kākāpō, for example, which mean it's more likely the embryo doesn't develop. And there might be some genetic issues, for example, which cause that to happen. So that's potentially something that we might be able to mitigate to some extent, bearing in mind that we can't exactly force Kākāpō to mate with each other very easily, apart from our artificial insemination. So it's we can only go so far, but that might be something that we can help mitigate in future. So this is work that we're continuing. And so we're working with our research partners to look at more samples. So we did this in 2019. We're looking at now the eggs from 2022 and then also from the coming breeding season as well to find out how many of them really are infertile and how many of them are early embryo death.
Thanks, Andrew. Infertile eggs and early embryo deaths aren't the only problem the Kākāpō team must consider. Amidst all the excitement and celebration, there is also a lot of planning about what could possibly go wrong. Here's Deidre again.
The biggest problem that really stands out for me in previous years has been a disease risk that we've had with aspergillosis, a fungal pneumonia that hit us hard in 2019, and we had quite a few females succumb to that disease. And we ended up having to send around 50 Kākāpō onto the mainland for CT scans, as it was the only way we could determine if they had aspergillosis. And 21 of them did have it, and 9 of them died. So that was a pretty significant event. It took us about 9 months to manage that, actually. So that stands out as one real problem we've had in the past. Another problem that we have in many years is the fruit not ripening, the rimu fruit triggering the females to breed and then all falling off the trees before it turns into a plump, healthy red fruit. And leaving the females with no option of food to raise their chicks on. And so that's required hand rearing in the past. And then some other problems we've had very wet years. We've had a particular bad wet year on Anchor Island where we had a few flooding events with flash floods running through nests, etc. So those are the sorts of things that I think of. This coming year, I guess the big cloud hanging over in my mind is highly pathogenic avian influenza, or HPAI, which is kind of knocking on the shores of New Zealand. It's out there and around the world. We've seen some pretty drastic effects of that. So we're told it's only a matter of time before it does actually arrive in New Zealand, with most likely migrating seabirds. So we're on the lookout for that, and we have a plan to enact if it turns up. But of course, I'm just desperately hoping it holds off for at least another year so that we can have a successful breeding season.
Thanks, Deidre. And fingers crossed that none of these possible problems come to pass. That's the show for this week. But join me again next week for more Kākāpō nesting news and behind-the-scenes details. The Kākāpō Files is produced by RNZ in collaboration with the New Zealand Department of Conservation's Kākāpō Recovery Programme. A special thanks this week to Deidre Vercoe and Andrew Digby. This episode was produced by me, Alison Ballance, with help from RNZ's Claire Kincannon and Brianna Uritage-Gregg. Sound engineer was William Saunders. If you have questions, please email them to kākāpō@rnz.co.nz. and we'll do our very best to find answers. You can find the Kākāpō Files online at rnz.co.nz or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're enjoying the show, please share it with a friend. And don't forget that for pictures with your audio, why not watch Rakiura on Kākāpō Cam while you're listening? I'll catch you next time. But for now, many thanks for listening. Mā te wā.